Whales today are the largest animals to ever exist. A blue whale can be over 100 feet long and weigh as much as a jet plane. And when we see these giants swimming peacefully in the ocean, it's hard to imagine anything ever being big or strong enough to hunt them. But the truth is, millions of years ago, whales were not the rulers of the seas. The oceans were filled with predators so large and so powerful that whales were actually their prey. Let's start around 10 million years ago during the Miocene epoch. At this time, whales already existed, but they weren't quite as massive as the blue whales we know today. Many were medium-sized species, some only a fraction of the size of modern giants, and sharing those oceans with them were two of the deadliest predators Earth has ever seen. One was a giant shark, Megalodon, and the other was a massive toothed whale called Livyatan melvillei. Both of these animals were apex predators sitting at the very top of the food chain. Livotan was like a sperm whale designed for battle. Modern sperm whales feed mostly on squid, using suction to pull their prey in. But Livotan had something very different. Huge teeth, some over a foot long. In fact, they're the largest functional biting teeth ever discovered in any animal. With a skull nearly 10 feet long, its jaws could crush bones and tear through flesh with ease. Fossils suggest it fed on other marine mammals, including dolphins, seals, and smaller whales. In other words, this was a whale that hunted whales. Its very name reflects its power. Livyatan comes from the biblical Leviathan, a legendary sea monster, and melvillei honors Herman Melville, the author of Moby Dick. At the same time, another predator ruled the oceans, Megalodon. This shark has become one of the most famous extinct animals, and for good reason. It was massive, estimated at 50 to 60 feet in length, longer than a school bus and weighing as much as 60 tons. Megalodon's bite force is thought to be over 40,000 pounds, the strongest bite of any creature in history. Its teeth were serrated, razor-sharp, and as large as a human hand. Fossilized whale bones with megalodon bite marks have been found all over the world, and in some cases, teeth were still lodged in the bones. These fossils show us that whales were a regular part of megalodon's diet. So imagine being a whale in those waters. You might be attacked from below by a shadow the size of a bus, a shark with jaws wide enough to swallow you whole. Or you could be rammed and bitten by a giant whale with teeth built to crush your skull. These oceans were deadly, and whales were far from safe. What is even more fascinating is that Megalodon and Livyatan did not just live in the same period, they lived in the same oceans. That means two of the most powerful predators in history may have competed with each other for food. Scientists do not know if they ever fought directly, but it is possible. Imagine a 60-foot shark with the most powerful bite force in history going head-to-head against a 50-foot whale with enormous teeth. That would have been the ultimate clash of titans. But Megalodon and Livyatan were not the only whale hunters. If we go back further in time, about 40 million years ago, there was Basilosaurus. Despite its name, which means king lizard, Basilosaurus was actually an early whale. It grew to nearly 60 feet long, with a long, snake-like body and sharp teeth. Fossil evidence shows it fed on smaller whales and dolphins. It was one of the first whales to become an apex predator. And if we go back even further, during the age of dinosaurs, giant marine reptiles called mosasaurs dominated the seas. One of them, called Thalassotitan, had jaws strong enough to take down other marine reptiles and possibly early whale ancestors. Even today, whale hunting has not disappeared completely. Modern orcas, or killer whales, are the last remaining predators that actively hunt other whales. They do not reach the massive size of Megalodon or Livyatan, but in groups they can take down prey much larger than themselves. In some ways, orcas are continuing a tradition that goes back tens of millions of years. So what happened to the giants like Megalodon and Livyatan? Why did they disappear while whales grew larger and larger? The answer lies in climate change and shifting ecosystems. Around 3 million years ago, Earth's climate cooled and whale populations changed. Some whales evolved to become much larger and began migrating into colder waters. Megalodon was adapted to warmer seas and could not survive in those new environments. Without enough food, it eventually went extinct. Livyatan likely faced the same problem. As prey species shifted and ecosystems changed, this giant whale hunter could not keep up. By the time both Megalodon and Livyatan disappeared, whales had already begun to evolve into the giants we see today, the blue whales and fin whales that dominate modern oceans. Without predators of that scale, whales could grow larger and safer than ever before. It is strange to think about, but the peaceful image of a whale gliding through the ocean today only exists because its predators went extinct. Millions of years ago, the ocean was far more dangerous, filled with creatures whose size and power are hard to imagine. Sharks longer than buses, and whales with teeth teeth bigger than your hand, once made the seas a battlefield. The story of these predators is also a reminder. In nature, nothing stays the same. Apex predators rise and fall, giants disappear, and new ones take their place.